Well, good evening, all. It's the old redneck. It's Saturday, December 12th, 2020. And I'm sitting here. Made a previous video about how I feel about the judges nowadays. You know, they're supposed to be impartial, supposed to look at every case bipartisanly, keep their own thoughts out of it. I mean, that's why we call them judges. Well, evidently, with this political circus going on, I guess it's to be expected that nobody wants to step in that minefield. And my opinion shows me the courts are all bought and paid for by the politicians. You know, we're not going to go there right now. Much. I have a couple things about this so-called COVID vaccination I want to talk to you about. All right. My mind, it's awful convenient. It's going to take 2 shots to get you through it. Okay? Yeah, I know they've moved heaven and earth to get it going and all this stuff. And they're sorry for the lockdowns. They're sorry for all the stress they're causing everybody. Oh, they're really sorry about the businesses they're putting out of business. Yeah, right. The pig's eye there. The only thing they're sorry about is they're still free-thinking people that ain't buying their bullshit. Grew up years ago believing every man could make his own way. I was taught didn't matter what color your skin was, as long as a man's willing to work hard for what he's got, he deserves your respect. Nowadays, it seems they're raising people to think just because of your skin color, you're supposed to be automatically given respect in anything you want. What, you want me to work? Why should I work? You need to pay me. It's not my fault I have a drug habit, or I like to sell drugs. You know, then they go ahead and make the weed illegal. They do everything they can to destroy the morals of this country. And I'm not just talking Democrats here. You got those old school Republicans doing the same thing because they think it'll keep them in power. Let's get rid of God in the schools. Let's start teaching the socialist way. Pretty soon they'll all be thinking blue cheese is what makes the moon. Or cream cheese, or whatever you want to call it. We're in for a rough road. They're already talking mandatory vaccinations. They're already talking having a vaccination card that you have to show. Well, this kid ain't having one. And no, it ain't the beer talking. It's only my second sip of my second beer. Let's go to this COVID-19 testing. They tell us don't have to wear masks. Then they say, oh, you need to wear a mask. It's passed with saliva that you're breathing and talking and all this, blah, blah, blah. It's pretty strange. They go to do a COVID test and they got to take a Q-tip that long and shove it up your nose, wiggle it around for a while and pull it out and all that. Well, if this COVID is passed by saliva from your breath and your mouth talking, why can't they do a saliva test? But they can't, supposedly. I've talked to a lot of truckers. And they're being told, well, when the vaccine's in, it's mandatory you take it or you ain't going to be driving. We're going to attach it to your CDL. I think that's a big mistake, people. I think that's a real big mistake. I have a feeling if you do that, you're going to find the trucking industry shuts down. You can only push these people so far. And truckers are about the last independent people there are. I mean, you stop and think about it. You got a single guy hustling, tons of freight across country all by himself. That means he does a lot of thinking on his own. He doesn't have somebody looking over his shoulder and, now make sure you take your right turn to use your turn signal. Da, 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 da. I see brake lights up ahead. No, you don't see that. Granted, there are a lot of cowboys out there that take a lot of risk with their loads. We've all seen one or two of them. But 99.9% of the truckers I see are some of the hardest working people I know. The government keeps putting more and more restrictions on them. Trying to micromanage everything they do. And to a dispatcher, 200 miles is only that far on that. Why can't you be there by yesterday? Same thing in my business. I get companies that drop tanks off at my place to be cleaned. It just gets there, and 5 minutes later, asking if it's done. Really? You're going to kiss what? Seriously, people. Quit believing your little screens. Quit believing the 6 o'clock news, your 30-second sound bites. We were finally starting to get this country back on the straight and narrow until you allowed people to steal the election. Well, you didn't really allow it. But they damn sure did it by paying off every judge in the country, including the Supreme Court. Now, if I get in trouble for saying what I think, that's on me. But the last I heard, we still had the right to free speech. For how much longer, I don't know. You got bitches like AOC, Pelosi, and that Muslim gal and those Somalians up there trying to change it all to be communist. And you got the pussy boy Biden up there just agreeing to everything Obama and everybody else tells him to do. He's bringing in all the retreads. The people that fucked up this country a while back. Now they're going to do it again. I think that's called a take two, isn't it? I wouldn't be very surprised to see him put Hillary back in some office. Well, I hope you liberals like what you get. I think it's going to bite you in the ass. And to all the Democrats and these entertainers, or so-called entertainers, they're all pleased with the Black Lives Matters and the Tiva group, making all these donations, especially these so-called sports stars that got millions of dollars in their gated communities. What are you going to do when those clowns realize that you ain't really behind them? You could care less about them, you were using them, and they turn on you. Who are you going to call? The police? Oh, wait a minute, you defunded them. Now, I've said this before about BLM. You want to have an organization that calls itself Black Lives Matters. But you only hear about them when there's a white cop involved in a shooting against a black person. You don't hear a damn thing about them on the black on black crime. Whether it be out here in Oakland, Chicago, New York, you don't hear a goddamn thing about them. So that tells me they're a bunch of glory hounds. They're going for headlines. Sports stars, you want my respect? Put the name of those kids that got killed in Chicago or Oakland. You know, the ones sitting in their house doing their homework, trying to make something of themselves, get shot by a bullet coming through their house due to a drive-by. No, you're going to put criminals' names on your jerseys and praise them like they're God themselves. Are you just that fucking brain dead of a friggin' moron? Oh, wait a minute. You are Chinese supporters, that's right. Yeah. Can't have baseball leagues and basketball leagues and football leagues without the Chinese. My God, you might lose your sponsorship from Nike, who uses slave labor, child labor. Oh, we're not supposed to talk about that. Oh, I'm sorry. I won't say a thing about it. No. But you want reparations for shit that happened hundreds of years ago in this country. But you're not going to talk about the slave trading that's going on today. Oh, because that messes with your bottom line. And your books might get out of accounting. The veils may have to come off your eyes. You won't have to look through blinders. I speak my mind the way I think. If people like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. I try to speak it the way I understand it. If I'm wrong about any of these facts, tell me so. I'll listen. And I'll do more research. But you know, this country, we used to have back and forth conversations where we could agree to disagree. Think about it. Nowadays, you talk to somebody, they don't agree with you. You're a racist, homophobe, whatever. Oh, wait a minute. Can't even talk to people nowadays because you got to wear a mask. You got to keep 6 feet apart. Oh, and you can't gather. Well, gee, there's infringing on one of our rights. Right. Oh, wait. You don't have to wear a mask, and you can gather if you're protesting. At least out here in California. Lockdowns for everybody, but protesters. Oh, and outdoor religious groups. Protesters don't have to stay 6 feet apart, but religious groups do. We got Emperor Newsom out here, you know, then Queen Nancy Pelosi. All trying to tell us, oh, you will get up at this time in the morning, you will do this, 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 you will turn on the TV and listen for your instructions. Yes, you won't do anything else, you won't think for yourself. Total bullshit, people. It's like these are the people that are trying to piss off everybody. They want a war in the streets. I don't know why. Evidently, they think they won't be touched. Here's a word to the wise, to all those entertainers, politicians, sports stars. If a person is determined enough, a person can reach out and touch you. And you get people to where they have nothing left to lose. And that's liable to happen. You get half the country backed up against the wall, you may just find out you grab more than the tiger's tail. So I would suggest that people give it some long, hard thoughts. That's just an observation from this dumbass. As I said, I still have the right to free speech. I'm not making a threat to anybody. I'm just making an observation. It's kind of like an old junkyard dog. You corner the son of a bitch, you're in for a fight. That's my observation for the night, before I get really off on a tangent. So, this is the old redneck going to call it a night. Get off this thing before I leave. Remember our military servant here and abroad. And those boys, remember your oath. Remember our veterans coming home and the ones here. Give them a hand up, not a hand out. Word to the wise of them. Remember your oath also. Nobody ever relieved you of it. Keep your eyes open. Watch your six. Redneck out.